What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and on today's episode, I've got a couple things to talk to you about, and then I got a press conference from Adam Gase and from Ryan Tannehill that you will get at the end of this video. And also Xavier Howard also had one as well, so you'll get those at the end of this video. But for now, for my portion of this, like I said, I got a couple things. So to start with, first and foremost, since I mentioned Xavier Howard, Pro Bowl, the Pro Bowl votes have come in, or the, people who made the Pro Bowl, and not entirely surprising that, we had one person. Yeah, so that's not surprising at all, and it happened to be Xavier Howard, so that's good for him, though. Obviously, congratulations, and we might, end up getting another one or two guys in as alternates, which would be great, of course. But, yeah, of course, we kind of got overlooked as usual. Our guys got overlooked as usual because, and it's funny because in Adam Gase's press conference, like, they asked him about, Laramie Tunsil and if they think he should have been, voted into the Pro Bowl, and he was like, yeah, he said that he thinks he's the best tackle in the league, best left tackle in the league, and that he absolutely should have. He doesn't know why he wasn't, blah, 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 blah. But, it's most likely because people think that, we're not a very good team. So, and whatever. Anyway, so X is in his first Pro Bowl, which is really cool. And like I said, hopefully we'll get another couple guys in as alternates at least anyway, which would be nice. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is Frank Gore has been officially put onto the injured reserve list. So I believe that now makes 13 guys that we have on injured reserve. And with that, there was a corresponding move. We picked up a defensive tackle. He was a 7th round pick from the Carolinas, and we poached him off of their practice squad, Kendrick Norton. Besides that, I don't really know anything about him. I just know what I read in, the reports. So he is taking Gore's spot on the roster, at least as of now. Yeah. And then, so, one other thing. Besides that's, pretty much all I had for, like, the news and notes regarding the team. But there was one interesting thing that I saw, an article that I saw about, or on Bleacher Report. And there's a couple different topics that they have in there, in this article. But one of them is the state of the officiating in the league. So, you guys have heard me talk about it plenty, and it is starting to get more and more attention in the, national media. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of this. So it starts off by saying, the problem, or a problem the league can't ignore anymore. NFL officiating is broken. And it isn't hard to find examples. You can look, every single game. Look, dude, first and foremost, at this point, it's like every single game you watch, half of the game is spent officiating, right? You spend half the time watching a game, watching flags and listening to calls and so on and so forth. And then, they talk about how, there are, officials just blatantly missing calls and this, that, and the other. And it's getting to be a thing, apparently from this article, NFL executives and, whatever, people from teams, coaches, they're getting, upset by it. We know players have been getting upset by it. They've been saying stuff about it, on social media, and and even in press conferences. Some players have talked about it in press conferences and interviews. And the fans are not happy. Obviously, you've heard me talk about it. You've heard other people talk about it, and it's crazy. So, but it's funny because here are like the they said that they have talked to both teams and fans about, you know, what they think should be the fixes to the problems. And here are the 3 things that they said. First, more full-time officials. It's not a complete fix, but having more officials studying the game full-time, the way players and coaches do, can't hurt. And as you'll note from our first item, the NFL is on board. Yes, so, okay. I'm going to take these one at a time. So, with that, and then I'm going to add some stuff. So, with that, okay, sure. Here, as far as that goes, I would say that, obviously, you know, you got to have... Every game's got to have an officiating crew. I think you got to have some guys, you know, in New York who can be, you know, an objective extra set of eyes that can, you know, be watching replays and so on and so forth. You know, so yeah, I mean, you got to have enough guys at least, right? And then maybe, you know, a couple extra just to add a little bit more objectivity, you know, some extra eyes and so on and so forth. But I don't really think that that is anywhere near the problem with the officiating, right? So, yeah, I don't know about that one. I will say, and this is one that I'm going to add to this, is that they need far better training. You know, the officials absolutely need far better training. And as officials, yeah, I mean, I would expect that, you know, since that's their job, all they do is, you know, study the playbook. I mean, they should know the rules, you know, in and out like the back of their hand. You know, that's what is supposed to be able to make them capable of making split-second decisions during these games, right? So I think that's also a major component of it is they need to be trained better. I don't necessarily think we need more officials. We just need to train them better in that regard. But again, though, it is good to have, you know, other eyes. So it's good to have, you know, it's good to have the rules analysts on, you know, with the commentary, even though they don't really affect the game or the officials on the field. But it is good to have them because it does put, you know, extra sets of eyes on there, so that way, you know, they can give their opinion, because there have been tons of times, even when I've heard the commentary, you know, be like, oh, well, that's just a blatantly bad call or whatever. And it's good because it brings awareness to the issue, right? And then, okay, so then the second one that they said is more accountability. Make officials more accountable by forcing them to have press conferences after games the way coaches and players do. Honestly, with that one, I would have to, personally, I would have to see how it goes. I don't think I have quite enough information to say definitively on this, and I'd have to see how it goes in, you know, real time, real life examples. And I don't think that it could hurt anything, but frankly, if I'm thinking about it logically, really the only thing is reporters or whatever would just be able to ask them, hey, you know, why didn't you guys call that, or, you know, whatever. But I don't really know what good that would do. Like, how does that really even hold them accountable? It doesn't, because if they wanted to, they could just lie. They could just make something up and be like, oh, well, this is why, or blah, 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 or what have you, right? I mean, like I said, it couldn't hurt, and maybe it could help if, you know, they were to say things like, you know, these rules are too complicated and convoluted, or some of them are impossible to follow, or whatever, because it's true, right? Which, again, to me, if you guys have watched my show, you know, is another big thing that I think is wrong with the rules. The rule book has gotten far too large with far too many fucking super minute details that are either make the rules too convoluted to be able to make proper calls on, or are just impossible to follow. Like the whole, you know, putting your weight on a quarterback rule. I think that is the dumbest fucking rule I've ever heard of, and needs to just be completely trashed. Anyway, so the next one that they have, though, more consequences, this would be holding them a little bit more accountable. This would be holding them more accountable, and I don't necessarily have a problem with this. I think this one actually kind of makes sense. If a game official has multiple overturned challenges in multiple games, demote that official. Yeah, sure. You know, if they're not doing their job properly, obviously you have to take proper recourse. However, again, some of the bigger problems, some of the more root problems, though, are the training and the state of the rules and the rule book. If you fix those things, then it would make it so much easier to do their jobs, for them to do their jobs, right? And I've made it, or I think I've made it clear, I've tried to make it clear that when I talk about the officiating, I'm not trying to put blame necessarily on the officials themselves, right? Because I think the problems are things that they don't really have control over, right? They don't make the rules. They're just the ones there that are supposed to, you know, enforce them, make the calls on the field. And they don't have control over their training either. Sure, you know, they can sit there and study the fucking, you know, playbook 24/7, and I'm sure a lot of them do that. Not literally 24/7, but I'm sure a lot of them stay stuck in that rule book, excuse me, I said playbook. Right? So it's like, what are they supposed to do, right? And that's why earlier in the year when the NFL fired, you know, an official, I mean, apparently he has a record, that official had a record for, you know, just completely missing blatant calls, but it's happened so much in the NFL this year. I can't even count how many times, right? So again, there are other issues that are causing the officiating to be bad. It's not the officials themselves necessarily. Sure, they make mistakes, but, and you know, whatever, sure, they have judgment calls that I think are terrible, but to be fair, to be completely fair, you know, the rule book needs to be, a lot of it needs to be trashed, and a lot of it needs to be simplified, and so on and so forth, right? And they need to be trained better. And then finally, the thing that I think would actually make a big difference is they should make penalties reviewable and challengeable. You can challenge them, right? Now, so what I mean by that is first and foremost, I think that again, since there's a crew, right? Since there's a crew of people in New York, right? Since they have, apparently the officiating crew went for, the full-time officials in the NFL went from 21 to 24, right? So here's where I would agree with, in that regard, to that point, is those officials that are supposedly chilling up in New York, you know, watching objectively, as, you know, extra sets of eyes and so on and so forth, they should be there. You know, they should have people that during the games, their entire job, right? They should have well-trained officials, well-versed officials, that their entire job, the entire game, is to just watch every single penalty. And then when a penalty happens, they're going over the replay so that way they can, you know, talk to, you know, the guys on the field and be like, hey, no, you need to pick that flag up, right? I would like to see a lot more flags picked up. Just pick them up, right? Because there's tons of calls that are super ticky-tack that are just fucking absolutely bullshit that detract from the fucking game. And they could just fucking pick the goddamn flag up. Just pick it up, right? So if you have those guys in New York, you know, being like, hey, just pick up the flag, that would help. And then be able to challenge them. So if, you know, the team, right, because obviously they have, people that are going over every single play so they can challenge like spots of the ball, or whether it was a complete pass and blah blah blah, right? They can challenge stuff like that. But then if they had, if every team then had also had an official, like a team official, or somebody that's works for the team or whatever, or it could be a league official that's assigned to the team, whatever, it doesn't matter. A person that's assigned to the team or with the team, works with the team, that is in their box going over all of those plays, and then being able to fucking, radio down and be like, hey, that needs to be challenged because I disagree with that, or whatever. And then they need to be able to challenge it. That should be in the allowable to challenge category, right? So yeah, I mean, that's my take on it. Some of the stuff that they said in there I thought was kind of silly, but at least it's finally really starting to be talked about, because they need to get it fixed. Otherwise, it's going to end up being a huge problem for the NFL. But anyway, guys, with that, I really didn't want to take a long time with my video. I wanted to keep it kind of short for you, since I have these interviews. They're not exceptionally long. I think Gase's was like 12 minutes and Tannehill's is like 7. X's interviews like a little over 4 minutes, so they're not super long, but I wanted to try and keep it short for you. And of course, as always, I went off on a tangent, and started saying a bunch of shit. But there was a couple things I wanted to talk about, particularly the officiating thing. And it's good to see that it's finally being talked about more on the national stage. Because again, it needs to be fixed. So with that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and send you off to these interviews. I hope you guys enjoy my show. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Make sure you leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. If you want to hit me up, ask me things, just chop it up, talk to me, whatever. Let's get into it. I love interacting with you guys. Also, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. You can hit me up there and chat with me. You can also ask me questions there. Again, I will answer your questions in videos. Also, I post my videos there as well, and I tweet and retweet, quite a bit of stuff as well. So, again, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.
Social media. My agent told me.
And your reaction?
It still haven't hit me yet. It's still feeling real, but it's a lot of more things to accomplish this year too.
Is it a moment of validation for you?
Yeah, man, I'm just seeing everything in, man. Just really trying to just get back on the field right now. That's my main focus, getting back on the field and helping my team out.
How do you feel?
I feel great, man. First day back out there, so I feel great, and just moving on, trying to see at the end of the week how it's gonna go.
Stephen, there was a report that you had scopes. Is that accurate?
No, sir.
You did not have your new scopes?
No.
Well, what was it? Was it a meniscus injury?
It was some dealing towards that, yes.
And how satisfying was it to be able to practice today?
Oh, man. Been 2 weeks, man, just on the sideline, just watching the guys out there and just want to be out there. I'm ready to get back, man, just help my team out.
How important is it? I'm sorry. How important is it to you to wind up leading the NFL in interceptions this year? You're tied for first right now.
Man, it was important to me. It's a big goal that I want to accomplish. Like I was saying, like it's a lot of more opportunities out there. They're probably tied right now. Me and Kyle Fuller, 2 more games. I want to end up on top at the end of the day.
Tell us about the reactions you've gotten, maybe on your phone. What volume of reactions have you gotten, and what's the funniest or most memorable reaction you've gotten from a family or friend?
Oh, man, I got so many calls and text messages. It's been crazy, but it's really just having that feeling of everybody supporting you and just, just really just being the guy I am, man, trying to be, being humble about myself, but really just how everybody see my hard work paid off.
Excellent. Go ahead.
How far back can you recall thinking that the Pro Bowl was a goal or a dream for
Well, that been a goal my rookie year when I first got here. You know, I've been set that up. I didn't accomplish that my rookie year, my second year, but now it's here, my third year. You know, and I got it done.
The match was pretty tough the last couple of weeks for you, not being able to be out there and help them.
Right, man. You know, I want to be on the field with them guys every day, competing with them guys, man. You know, it's like a brother bond that we got on the back end, also the whole team also. But you know, just being out there and compete with them guys, just being out there having that energy, man. Game-changing plays out there, and just really just want to see my team win.
Did you make the trip to Minnesota or did you stay back to rehab?
No, I was there. I was on the sideline. I was there.
Xavier, for somebody that had an injury to the knee and your off-season coming up, what you're trying to accomplish there, why is it important to you to return these final 2 games?
Man, I want to finish where I left off at. You know, I want to play. I want to try to play 16 games or more for playoffs. You know, and just coming back, man, just where I left off at, man, there's a lot of things that was going in a great direction that we could have in front of us. So, you know, just being back out there and just, like I was saying, want to give my team the opportunity.
It seems like this team is snake bit. I mean, you've been playing so well and you get hurt and injuries throughout the course of the year. Do you kind of feel like this year might be a bit of a missed opportunity because of things being under control?
No, man. With the next man up mentality we got to have, man, it's the NFL, man. Everybody get paid and everybody go out there and got to perform. So, you know, we can't say just because of injuries that our season been going like that, man. Everybody injured right now. You know, there's 2 more games left. You just got to thug it out.
Obviously, the injury is an interruption in your season, but do you feel like you can pick up right back where you left off?
Right, man. No setbacks, I say.
So,
Did you happen to see Twitter today?
so Joe Philbin declined to say that Aaron Rodgers is going to be his starter this week. Does that mean anything to you?
That sounds very familiar, but doesn't mean a whole lot. No, I can relate.
How you feeling after 9 sacks?
Not too bad. Thankfully, you know, didn't get dinged up or anything, so you know, a little sore, but not too bad.
Any of those sacks affect your shoulder?
No.
When you went back and watched those, how did you evaluate those, whether you know hot or whether it was just a protection gap? You know, when you look at all the sacks.
Yeah, I think you can't put it on one person or one group. You know, I think it was a little bit of everyone. You know, I could have done a couple things differently. Line could have done a couple things differently. Backs, tight ends. It was really everyone that was involved. Unfortunately, failed at one point or the other. So definitely need to come back, regroup this week, and get back on track.
Your numbers at home are really good, and the teams as well. How would you describe the comfort level playing in the stadium here at this point?
Well, it's good. You know, I think it always feels good to play at home in front of your home crowd. Obviously, familiar with playing there. It's an honor to get to go out and step foot on that field every time we get to play at home. You know, we want to put on a good show for our fans and win every game we play at home. So definitely something we look forward to.
Is there something different about the road that makes that such a drastic difference when you guys play?
I mean, it's always different playing on the road, right? I mean, it's snap count's different. The momentum of the game can change more rapidly, I think, on the road. But at the end of the day, it's football. So those things can have slight effects in the game, yes, but doesn't change the game, so to speak.
Brian, can you talk a little bit about Jacksonville's defense, why they're so good? I know 2 weeks ago they shut out the Colts, which is pretty impressive. What do you see when you look at the tape?
They're a talented team. You know, I think it starts with the personnel. They have good players, you know, from the front to the linebackers and secondary, all the way through. You know, they're really a solid team, kind of a lot like we saw last week, just of you know, stacked up good players at every position. You know, and they play fast. They keep things fairly simple. You know, they play what they play. I think they do a good job of studying what teams do to attack them and really trying to lock those things down. So, have to give a lot of credit to the way they're playing right now. They've played well pretty much all season, through the ups and the downs of their season. You turn on the tape, you can't tell what score is by the way that they're playing. They're playing hard, they're flying around, excited to make plays, so I have a ton of respect for this defense.
How have you seen Kayla's growth from training camp, to last week and his explosion there?
Kayla's been huge for us. I think this is progression throughout OTAs, throughout training camp. Buying in, getting in the playbook, and learning what to do. And now you're starting to see that he's getting some opportunities in the backfield and on offense, and he's taking advantage. You saw some of his talent last week. Not many guys can take that thing, 75 yards untouched. So he has the size to run tough, get the tough yards, but then he also has the breakaway speed to be able to finish those long runs. So he's kind of a rare combo in that regard of size and speed.
Coach Gay said today that he was shocked that Laramie didn't make the Pro Bowl. Maybe he will as an alternate or something, but how would you describe his growth?
Yeah, Laramie's been huge. Honestly, I'm shocked too. He's been such a good player for us this year. Really disappointed to not hear him announced as a Pro Bowl player. I think he's been every bit of that for us, and the way he's played, both in the run and the pass game. He's strong, he's athletic, he's everything you look for in a tackle. So, we have a ton of confidence in Laramie, and I think he should get a little bit more respect for it.
Ryan, we know every week in this league that you guys are always playing for a job, but when you have to face a team that has had a rough season like Jacksonville, those guys are playing for jobs. How much more dangerous does that make them?
Like I said, they've played hard all year. You can't turn on the tape and see guys loafing or looking like they don't want to be out there. They're playing hard, they're flying around. I think they take a lot of pride in playing good football on defense. So, like I said, we have a ton of respect for them and know that they're going to come out and play hard against us.
When you're under duress like you were on Sunday, do you talk to your guys and demand better, or do you just sit there and take it? Or what is the reaction to 9 sacks?
I think initially it's just trying to get it corrected, right? So you go look in the sideline, hey, what happened? Where was the miscommunication or the misstep? If it's a mental thing, that's when I kind of get a little ticked off. If it's some guy getting beat, that's going to happen, right? They get paid too over there. But yeah, I think the frustrating part was we had a few mental errors and sacks that free runners that we shouldn't have been having free runners. So those are the frustrating ones that I think you look back and you're mad about, just because we should have had some opportunities and we didn't get to take a shot.
Are you talking about the stunts and stuff like that?
Yeah, stunts or secondary guys adding on. That protection has built-in answers for that, and we weren't able to get them. So yeah, like I said, it's mixed around on every group, but the mental error ones are the ones that frustrate you the most.
How does communication roll between, I guess, the center pointing out snaps and you? Like, who has that main responsibility, and how does it shift off?
Yeah, and in our offense, the quarterback handles the mic points and as far as all the protections and everything go. So, that's on me to make sure it's set right and we're picked up either by hot or by protection.
Do you think because of your ankle injury is one reason why they felt like they could pressure you so much?
I don't think so. You'd have to ask them. I don't know. I felt all right. I got outside a couple times. I think we started the game with a naked. So I think showed early on that we're going to be able to get outside and move a little bit. So I wouldn't say so, but maybe they think otherwise.
How was the ankle?
It's doing well. It's progressing. Obviously, still doesn't feel too good, but we're headed the right direction. Good.
He's around the ball all the time. He's kind of preventing guys from getting the ball thrown their way. I mean, it's hard to really think of too many guys that are really above him.
Adam, you guys had Bobby McCain shadowing Adam Thielen last week. Why was he qualified for that job?
Well, I mean, we were just trying to, get the right matchups. I mean, we were, it was him and Minka were trying to, we're trying to get the right body type on the right guy, and we thought that was the best thing for us to do, and we rotated some of those other guys in there. You know, it was just we're trying to do everything we could to give us the best chance to win.
Adam, quick two-part question here. How disappointing was it to see Frank's season end the way it did? And also, as a head coach, how would you describe what it's been like coaching him?
Yeah, it's disappointing considering the amount of games, the amount of starts that he's had in a row. You know, I wish he could have finished this out. You know, he's a special person, special player. You know, I think it's hard to find somebody that's really done anything comparable to him. You know, especially at the way football is now, and how he has run early in his career, and to last this long and then to produce it the way he has at this age is just something you just probably won't ever see again.
Has Frank expressed anything to you about wanting to come back next year?
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. You know, I mean, right now it's probably it's really hard for him to just really swallow at this point.
Adam, the offense is close to the top of the league in average yards per rush, but the number of rushes is down. What would be the reason why not a greater amount of rushes?
Because we're bad on third down. We don't have a lot of plays. I mean, I don't even know what our play average is, but it's not very good. So, I mean, that's really probably the reason why the rush attempts are that low. The yardage is high because we've had those explosive runs. You know, I don't even know how many we've had, 57, I mean, having a 75-yarder, those type of things. That'll do it for you real fast. That'll get the average up. That'll get the yardage up. You know, if we had more plays, we'd have more attempts. But the fact that we find ourselves in 3rd and 7+ way too much, and we haven't been very good at even coming close to converting them, that really hurts us.
How do you look at the big play nature of your offense? Is that something you can rely on?
I mean, we obviously have had to, because that's been really something that's really helped us more than anything. But to rely on it, that's a little scary to do, because, I mean, you can go a whole game without getting one of those. You know, we've been lucky in the fact that we've had good execution on a lot of those plays that we've had explosive plays. It's just, you know, you want more of that, to where it's almost, it looks like it does in like a walkthrough. You know, in this last game, I mean, they blocked that perfect, and Balaj used his speed and didn't hesitate and just, you know, blew past everybody, and that was great to see. You know, more consistent we can be on things like that, you know, the better results we'll have.
Rashad expressed some frustration about how he's being used on Monday. How do you feel about where he is mentally right now?
He's fine. I asked him about it. I was giving him a hard time. But, I mean, the way that, you know, we've had to move people around, we kind of get caught in certain situations where, you know, him and TJ are kind of interchangeable, to where it's almost like, I don't want to say exactly how we do things, but like think of it as left, right, and they're just, you know, there's a slot on that side, that guy goes down and the other guy's back. So, I mean, it's kind of dictated by the formation in some of these cases. So, I mean, we want to put him in the best position possible. You know, we've kind of had to do things a certain way because of who we have out there, and, you know, it's Minka going to corner, and, you know, us kind of moving all these guys around. That's kind of why that's happened.
And we didn't notice TJ out there today. If he can't play, what are your options?
Yeah, we're just going to have to keep working through all these scenarios and moving guys around. I mean, we at least got some options as far as guys that have been back there, either this year or in practice. So the good thing is we have multiple guys with flexibility.
You picked up Kendrick Norton off Carolina's practice squad. Two-part. One, what can you tell us about him? And two, when you're claiming a guy off another team's practice squad, how much can you learn about that guy since he's in another team's camp?
Well, you're going off your college scouting for the most part, and that's what our pro department does. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, it's nonstop evaluating preseason film. I mean, really, most of the work's done before we even hit the season. You know, probably in those first 2 weeks, they've evaluated everybody on practice squad, and they're always constantly watching guys. They get moved up and play a game, and they evaluate them again. So, I mean, for us, it was somebody we were interested in the whole draft process. You know, we go through this every week. Chris and his crew go through all this, you know, every week, looking at everybody's practice squad, see if anything changes. And, you know, if we have a guy go down, we got to always be ready to see if we don't have what we're looking for on our practice squad, being able to go grab somebody else. And, you know, we're kind of that part of the year, and it's tough to get guys off of practice squads because they end up staying where they're at because they know that system. They know season is in the final 2 weeks. Why leave when, you know, you already know that system? So it makes it tough to get a guy to come to you. But, you know, it was a good opportunity for us, good opportunity for him. You know, we're always looking for those, you know, big guys, whether it's offensive line or defensive line.
I want to ask you about the injury jerseys for Kenyon Drake and Devontae Parker. Now that they're out of them, does that mean that they can be hit in practice, and is it an indicator that they're healthy from the shoulders?
Yeah, I mean, they could be hit if we're out of padded days. So, I mean, they shouldn't get hit at this point. But, yeah, that's what it would mean, that they're in better shape than what they were a couple of weeks ago.
What have you learned from Kalen throughout the season?
I thought he did a good job of just sticking with learning everything, practicing hard. I really think there was a time there where he could have mentally flipped a switch to where it would have been really hard for him. Sometimes when you're a rookie, you don't understand why you're not playing, and, you know, how do I get up? And he's looking in front of him, and we got 4 other backs that were playing, 2 of them on special teams, and he just never wavered. He just kept grinding. You know, he did unbelievable in scout team to where, you know, our defense was struggling because he goes one speed. I mean, what you saw on Sunday, that's how he practices. He finishes every run in the end zone, and we're always waiting for him to get back. You know, I mean, he's doing things the way you want a pro to do it.
Have you noticed any difference in the attention that guys are paying or the energy at practice or anything or in the building based off of, you know, the playoff possibilities not looking as clear as maybe last week?
I thought today was a good day. I thought guys were really good in our meetings. You know, this defense is similar to some of the ones that we've seen in the past where a lot of our guys have recall on when I'm going through, hey, here's what they're doing and here's why they do some of this stuff. And guys were sharp in meetings and asked good questions. And then at practice, I thought offensively those guys were running and, you know, executing what we were asking them to do. And defensively we're a little shorthanded right now because we're beat up for practice. You know, hopefully by Sunday we'll be a little healthier. But I thought guys were good in the team meeting and individual meeting. There was good attention. There seemed good energy at practice. You know, I don't think they're focusing on, hey, 2 weeks from now. I think they're worried about trying to win this game and knowing that, hey, is there a possibility? Yeah. I mean, it's going to be it's a small percentage, but you keep fighting to the end. Weird things happen in this league, and you just never know.
And on a totally different topic, so stunts against your offensive front. It seems like a lot of the damage has been done because, okay, you're nodding. So you know my question.
Mm-hmm.
What's the deal? What's the problem?
Well, we haven't done a very good job of passing him off to where when we get picked, guys slamming him down and then being able to retrace and understand, hey, there's a guy coming back to you. And sometimes we get hung up on him, and that's where we need to make huge improvement. We have to understand we see it enough with our defense. You know, we should be better than what we are right now because we've seen it enough. We understand what they're trying to do, and we haven't really done a good job of reacting to some of the things that teams have done. And there's been some creative things that teams have done that probably we haven't really seen that caught us off guard a couple times. But at some point, we got to understand kind of just the general philosophy of what they're trying to do. And we got to find a way to get better at it. And we got to change up probably some of our protections when we do that. There's probably a couple of things we can help them there, you know. But at the end of the day, it's about not hanging on one guy too long and just understanding there's somebody going to replace him.
So is that physical? Is that mental? Is that instincts? Is that not studying enough?
I would say it's probably, it's not studying enough. Like everybody knows like that's going to happen. I mean, when you get beat on something in a game, you're going to see it the next week. Like teams are always going to test you. If you can't stop like a wham play, you're going to see it every week until you get 0 yards or a negative play. If you're giving up 20 yards a clip, you're going to see it the next week. So we know we're always going to see it right away, and we just got to keep working at it. We got to find some ways to take the edge off a little bit to where, you know, protection-wise, we can help ourselves by just gapping it up. You know, it's just now you lose your back, you lose your tight end and any kind of check downs. But there are some ways that we can try to help them, you know, up front. And then at the same time, when we have to go six-man protection, we got to do a better job passing them off.
When X was out, how much did that hurt you schematically?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to hurt you a lot. It's like when Laramie's out. I mean, when Laramie's in there, he's on an island, and everybody else, we can double everybody else. But without Laramie, we're not in good shape.
Did you expect him to make the Pro Bowl?
I did. I think he's the best tackle in football. I was shocked because without him we can't do anything because he's on an island every play, every game, and he knows it. We tell him in the meetings, here's what we're doing protection wise, and I tell him you're on your own. And the way he sets and the way that he punches and sits down on, I mean, it's just even last week he would have been fine, and we, you know, one of our backs runs in the back of him and knocks him off.
Why do you think he didn't do? Why don't other people see it?
I mean, that's hard for me to explain. I mean, I don't know the actual percentages of who gets a say and all those type of things.
Thinking about sorry to bring it up again, but the 9 sacks. Sorry. About how many of those do you think Ryan could have or should have done something to limit or prevent it pre or post snap?
There was one pre-snap that I wasn't real happy with what he did. You know, I went through him the other day. There was really, for the most part, he didn't have much of a chance.
Thanks, guys.
Alright guys, you've reached the end of my video. This is the end of the interviews. I hope you enjoyed those. I hope you enjoyed my show. Also, as a whole, if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Make sure you hit the like button. And please share your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys. It's for you. This is for you. You know, and also follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. It's on the end screen. My Twitter handle is on the end screen if you need to know it. And with that, guys, I'm out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.